Here's an argument you'll sometimes hear from the anti-gun crowd. It goes something like this. Hey, you don't need a gun. It's much safer to leave the ownership and operation of firearms to the trained professionals. You know, people like the police. They'll protect you. Well, this is actually kind of a strange argument, right, coming from the anti-gunners. I mean, for starters, many of the gun control supporters out there are vocally anti-police. They don't like the police, they don't trust the police. Some social justice organizations want to dismantle, defund, or at least reimagine the police. Well, unlike a lot of those folks, I personally respect the police and I respect law enforcement. But I have to tell you, in reality, it is crazy to think that the police will always be around to protect you and your family if you are not able to do so. More on this when we come back. Hey folks, I'm Mark and welcome to the Four Boxes Diner. Along with firefighters and paramedics, police officers are often known as first responders. First responders are often hailed as heroes, and with good reason. Many of them do incredible work in the most difficult circumstances imaginable. But let's think about the term first responders for just a moment, right? Now, police are often the first to respond to a crime or to a dangerous situation. This is true. However, in most cases, they arrive on the scene after the crime has been committed, after the people targeted have been victimized, and after the bad guys have run away. And as the saying goes, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. Now, I don't say that to denigrate police. In fact, to be clear, this isn't the police officer's fault at all. It's simply the nature of policing and the reactive nature of policing in the United States and everywhere, frankly. But we, as Americans, need to accept this reality of the limitations of policing in this country. More often than not, you see, even the best police officers, even the best police organizations simply cannot get to you or your loved ones fast enough to stop a criminal. And in the most dangerous situations, law enforcement, frankly, can take a long time to swing into action for a lot of reasons unrelated to their fault. Let's go over some high-profile examples of what I'm talking about. First, in the infamous Columbine shootings in 1999, SWAT teams waited 47 minutes to enter the school. It was such a failure that the FBI conducted a full investigation of the response to that situation. From then on, first responders were supposed to move in at a much faster and quicker rate and get right in there and confront the active shooter. But frankly, in reality, that has simply not worked out that well. For example, again, take a look at the 2018 school shootings in Parkland, Florida. The local sheriff's department there had already stationed a deputy at the school, right? They were already at the school. The department's rules of engagement also require that deputy to enter the school to confront any active shooters. Except what happened there was he didn't do it. He actually radioed to make sure that no one entered the school because he didn't want more people getting killed, apparently. In the 2019 Pulse nightclub shootings in Florida, police there eventually waited 3 hours. That's 3 hours before they confronted the killer. At least 5 injured people died from their wounds during that time. One hostage actually summed up the police response by saying, "They took too damn long." I couldn't have said the words better myself. But even when the police do move quickly, it often, if not usually, is not enough. In the 2018 school shootings in Santa Fe, Texas, police engaged this killer literally within 4 minutes. That's 4 minutes. That is super fast. But by then, the killer had already killed or wounded 23 people. In the Sandy Hook shootings in Connecticut, police arrived on the scene in less than 3 minutes. But the shooter killed 20 students and 6 teachers before taking his own life when the police approached. We live in a country of 330 million people. But we have fewer than 700,000 law enforcement officers, and obviously we all know about the push to shrink the number of police officers in the United States today, especially when it comes to armed police officers. Now, many of these approximately 700,000 law enforcement officers are not even patrol officers. Beyond that, the ones that are patrol officers are spread out obviously over 3 shifts a day. right? They're not all on at one time. And many of these patrol officers on any given day, well, some of them may be on vacation. Some of them, if they're on the job, may be in court to testify in a case. Or they may have to go back to the police station to fill out paperwork. Or perhaps they meet just on the other side of town, right? They might be on the other side of town dealing with a car crash or a sick person or road construction or whatever when you need them on the other side of town. In the end, just practically and realistically speaking, no matter how great the police are, and I do think they're great, but no matter how great they are, it is simply not possible for the police to protect every citizen every minute of every day. Now, at the start of the segment, I asked the question about first responders, right? First responders. I wanted to discuss first responders and what it really means, because I think we don't do it enough, and I want to think about this. So, who exactly are the first responders in our society? Now, I have a different view than most people. To me, the answer is actually easy. The answer is you are the first responder. I am a first responder. You see, we are the first responder because we are the intended victim of a crime. Or we are the ones that see the fire first. Or it is we that see the sick person or the problem or the cat in the tree or whatever the problem is. We as Americans, as ordinary Americans, spot the problem and then we confront it or call 911 or what have you. But we are really the first responders. And it is the paramedics, the police, and the fire responding to our requests for help that are really second responders. Now, talking about what it means to be a first responder, ask yourself realistically, what would you do and how would you respond if there was a threat against your life, your neighbor's life, or the life of family members? Maybe, of course, you have a choice, right? You have a right to choose. Here's your choice. I mean, some of you might say, hey, I want to take a Mahatma Gandhi-like approach of passive resistance, right? Passive resistance to the threat. Maybe you would accept that violence is inevitable and simply submit. Or maybe you would decide, hey, I'm going to call 911, I'm going to hide in a closet, and I'm going to hope for the best. Okay? It's your choice. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your only protection is to have some sort of a realistic plan to defend yourself. And if you want to defend yourself and your family, then frankly, in many instances, guns may be your best friend. So let's wrap up. I want you to remember this the next time someone tells you that you should leave your guns to the professionals like the police and let them protect you and your loved ones. First, no matter how well trained or how motivated the police are, they probably are not going to reach you in time to protect you and your family from a violent criminal. The police may be just minutes away, but a violent criminal intent on doing harm needs only a second or two to change your life forever. Which leads to my second key point I want you to take away. You, I repeat, you are your own first responder. You better have a plan to protect yourself and your family and your community that doesn't rely on the police getting there fast. Because that assumption that the police will get there fast is likely a false assumption in most instances. Okay, thanks for joining me at the Four Boxes Diner, where we serve fresh, hot Second Amendment news and analysis. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe and help spread the word. So we'll see you next time at the Four Boxes Diner.
Orders up. Table 2A.